What is up? How's everybody doing? Welcome to week, no, I got this wrong last time. 9. Yes, we're on week 9, but today is actually Wednesday. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody, first of all, for being so supportive and understanding, when we've got things going on in life and just needed to take some time. So this is the first thing that's being posted this week. So again, really, really, really super appreciate everybody's understanding. I know that we had a really great week last week. We got that post that was inside that was on the Monday. Everybody posted their screenshots of different conversations and asked for feedback, or people could give different answers to what they've been using. There's a lot of really, really great stuff in there. So please, 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 please make sure you're going through that, taking screenshots of whatever you like. There's a lot of really, really great answers that will come in handy for you. And not saying that you have to use those ones specifically, but it's always great to see how everybody's styles, everybody kind of speaks a little bit differently, right? So take what you like. And that's a really great way to learn. Then on Tuesday, we went over basically those, I think there was 8 questions inside of that Word PDF. So we went over the 8 questions, and we actually did that exercise for the day is answering the 8 questions the way that we would. And then the next day after that, we did the exact same questions, but we did it where we were embodying actually somebody very specific, somebody that has like a high level of success, and taking on their energy and their confidence and really speaking and answering questions the way that somebody like that would. So I know that that one was a super cool one. And I talked to many of you and you were like, holy crap, I could feel the difference in my messaging just by doing that one little thing. So being able to have the before and after really shows you like kind of like the gap in between both of them, and really being able to take what you like about each one and kind of constructing how you want your answers to sound, right? How you want your communication to sound. And then for anybody else, I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but inside of the chat, I actually posted an 1.5-hour long video that I had made a little while back for my team, where I was actually going through my personal inbox on my Pages Manager. And I was going through different conversations that I've actually had with different leads, and kind of breaking down, like, the training's an 1.5 hours, so it's breaking down, like, reading what other people are actually saying, and then reading why some things are better to respond certain ways, or looking at what works and what didn't. There was a whole bunch of stuff in there. So hopefully everybody caught that as well too. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, definitely make sure that you do. There's a lot of gold nuggets in there as well. And again, I'm just going to say everybody has a totally different style. So don't feel that my style or the way that I'm showing inside of that video is the only way. Just look for those little try again. Those little pieces of inspiration, or those moments that are like, ooh, I like the way that sounds, and take little pieces and write them down, and just like move them into, allow them to help you shape your own style in the way that you want to write your messages to people, right? So for anybody who did not watch that and doesn't want to go scrolling forever to find the link inside of the chat, I actually posted the link inside of the PDF document that's going to go along with this video here today. So look for that. It's at the very bottom. So for today, basically what I want to do is I kind of want to pull up my screen and then share with you a PDF that I made that can isn't it funny how we catch little things that we say, like when we're trying to be very aware, not trying, but when we're very aware of them. So, well, I don't even remember what I was saying now. I don't even remember. I'm going to do a screen share today with a PDF that basically goes over a lot of the key things that you can look for to help inside of your messaging, so you'll be able to take something and have it inside of your business. So I'm sure that there are little pieces missing within this document. There's always, like, I made this over a course of a couple of days. Like, I had like papers set out around the house, and I would just like, as I was cooking, I would remember and I would write something down, or as I was with the kids, I would remember and write something down. So it's kind of like, it's been compiled over a course of a couple of days, or actually last week. And so I'm sure there's stuff that can be added. Definitely, if you think of great things that can be added, reach out and we can add it on a sheet for everybody, or you can just add it on your own. However you want to do that, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, it'll just be a really good reference to have something to kind of go back to, right? So let me just pull that up. Where is my here? All right, now sometimes my computer's a little bit slower when I'm trying to do a screen share. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. So basically, um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretty much like read it. Why is this coming up here? Make that go away. There we go. I'm going to pretty much just read it like off of the actual paper, and then um again, the beautiful thing about like our inspiration in the moment is different things will come out that might not be on the paper. So that's why it's important for me to do the video with the reading, but also people learn very differently as well too, right? So some people are going to resonate a lot more with the video, and then some people are going to resonate a lot more with the writing. So at least if you have both, you can pick and choose, but they do also work really nicely as well together, because there could be stuff that I totally forgot inside of the writing that's going to come through as I'm speaking, right? So okay, so let's get started. I'm going to try and keep this fairly tight. I'm going to try and not go over like the half an hour mark, kind of in and around there. I'm probably already at 10 minutes if I know me. I can't see any timer here anywhere, but so I'll try and keep it tight for you guys, okay? But keeping in mind that messaging is like one of the most important pieces, right? So first we get the lead. That's a very important piece through our videos and our message and all of that. But then there is actually converting the lead, right? And that happens inside of our conversation. Now, I do want to point out that as great as Messenger is and talking over the computer or over your laptop or whatever, it is always, always, always faster, easier, and better to get people on the phone, right? Now, I know that as soon as I say that, it's going to scare a lot of people. Trust me, I get it. I've been there, right? And I'm not saying that it's going to be for everybody right away, but it's definitely something to be working towards and keeping that in your close vision, because when people hear your voice and they can talk to you on the phone just for 10 minutes, you don't want to blab and blab and blab and tell them everything. But when they can hear you on the phone and they can kind of like, you know, picture, they can hear what you sound like, they can hear the way you speak, the words you use, your sense of humor, there's like a feeling of like trust or not, right? So it's a lot faster. I assure you it's a lot faster. And the conversion rates are a lot higher. If you can get them on the phone, the rate of conversion is a lot higher. So I always encourage phone. So messaging 101, I kept it, right in line with AI. Inside this PDF, we're going to go over some tips and tricks that have been working really well. We list different things to be looking for inside of people's messages and a list of things to remember that will help you save time and headaches. Keep this document with you and be sure to save all links to videos and other resources that have already been given last week on messaging. If you keep it all in one place, you will have lots of resources to refer back to when you need it. As mentioned before, please keep in mind that everyone is going to have a different writing style. None of them are right or wrong. Whatever feels good to you and is converting, perfect. I want to just stop for a second and say that part where it says and is converting, right? Because it can feel comfortable to you, but if it's not actually converting anybody, then some tweaks need to be made, right? So it's not always necessarily about what feels good. It also has to be converting, right? So trying on different styles and practicing different techniques can be very helpful to see what is actually working for your people specifically. Take what you like and leave what you don't. This is not by any means meant to be outlined as the only or best way. Make sure to always be testing new things. Even when you find something that seems to be working really well, still keep trying different things at the same time. Allow your intuition to guide you on those days where you want to try things that may seem unusual or even strange. Unusual can actually work really, really well sometimes. And also, even though we do not use, even though we do use a lot of copy and paste in this business, make sure that you are changing those each time as well too. Add a sentence or two on the front or back end to make it even more relevant for that specific person. Okay, you guys, I cannot stress this enough. I understand that time, right? We get into this business for time freedom. And in the beginning, when we're talking, it can feel like it's taking more time than we want it to. So we really lean on those copy and paste answers, right? But I'm going to tell you for sure, sometimes it's very, very easy to spot when somebody is sending a copy and paste. Okay. I'm sure you've had it happen to you before. I'm sure if you go back and read some of yours in the context after the conversation has already happened, I'm sure you can go back and read. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't even acknowledge this piece of what they were saying and let it flow into before I started with this, right? So that's why I'm saying, even if you take one sentence, like they could have given you a couple of really great clues, like what they do for work and how many kids they have. And then you could have gone right into, you might have gone right into your copy and paste, which is awesome. What we do is blah, 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 right? So instead, if you were to just keep the copy and paste, but if you were to add one or two sentences, it can be as simple as one, and you can go something like, wow, it sounds like that would keep you really busy at work. I admire you for juggling work and family. It sounds like it will be, I don't know, this is going off the top of my head. It sounds like it'll be something that will serve you well transitioning into this business. I know that was more than one sentence. Anyways, I'm trying to make it up on the spot, okay? Throw me a bone here. You know what I mean, though. Like tacking just something that actually works as like a bridge, right? You're bridging the gap from what they just said, which is very warm. Usually it's very warm. And then you're going right into a copy and paste, which might not actually match the tone of the conversation that you're having. So the thing is that not every conversation is going to have the same tone, right? Each one has a different tone. So making sure that you're not just firing off copy and paste as fast as you can for the sake of getting it done. Be invested and be present in the conversation when you're having it, and like creating that flow by adding one sentence or two sentences, if it sounds right, before you actually send your copy and paste. And then if you want to send something on the bottom, then you can add one at the bottom, right? Because it's still fast to do it that way, you guys. If we're just adding one or two sentences here and there, it's still fast to use the copy and paste and just add. But I'll tell you, it reads like they don't actually feel like you're just shooting stuff that you shoot to everybody. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to feel that way. They actually want to know that you're invested, right? They really do. Okay, so where was I? Blah, 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 blah. Be mindful and present with the energy inside every message. They can feel it. Yes, agreed. Bing. Speaking of being mindful, be very aware of the energy you are in before answering someone back. Check in with yourself. Okay. This business, because we talk to so many people, sometimes it can be challenging to separate ourselves and to not take it personally, right? If we have enough people in a row that are giving us excuses or not getting back to us or not following through or not signing up, right? It can feel discouraging on some days, especially when we have our own personal life going on as well too. And when all of those emotions mix together, we have to be very careful that when we read that message, that we're not interpreting it to be something more than it actually is, or that we're not attaching our previous emotion to what they've just said to us. It's not personal, right? So making sure that we check in with ourselves. Hang on, let me go. Are you sad about something in your personal life? Are you feeling heavy? Are you annoyed by other messages and some people's lack of respect or motivation? Are you feeling rushed to just get it answered and send the link? Checking in with yourself is super important. If you don't find yourself vibing on the positive end of the spectrum, come back to it. It's totally fine to even write a message that says you're a bit busy and we'll get back to them shortly, okay? And just for that last sentence, if you want to throw a dash of even more personality into it, instead of just saying, I'm a bit busy, I'll get back to you as soon as I get home or whatever, you can actually like involve them in whatever you're busy with. I love to use my kids because I know that my market of people is generally like mothers with kids, right? And so I love to, on my kids, I'm like, hey, I'm just out at the fair. These crazy kids are running wild and enjoying their first time on rides, you know? It's a bit crazy right now, but I have read your message and I'll get back to you, right? Like that right there, you treat them like a friend, right? And even if it feels strange to you in the moment, the way that they receive that is they already kind of know who you are just off of that, right? They know that you're a mother. They know that you've got kids. They know that you love to have fun. You're out at the circus. They know that you're an adventurous. You like to be outside. They know that you're prompt because you're looking at your messages, you know, even when you're out. They know that you've acknowledged them, right? And that you care enough to send a message while they're out with the family. There's so many things, you guys, that it reads inside of something so simple. And if you want to actually like turn it up a notch as well too, voice notes. Voice notes can be really, really, really handy. And it literally just has to be 20, 30 minutes, seconds, right? Like something really quick. Like I could have just said the exact same thing, but now she's going to hear, or they're going to hear the fair or the circus behind me in the background, right? So they're going to hear, hey, I just opened your message. Thanks so much for getting back to me. I definitely will shoot all of that over to you. I would love to learn more about you and share what I found here. I'm just at the circus with my family. Kids' first time on the roller coaster. Woo woo! You know, add some little sounds in there. I don't know, right? Like everybody's different. Again, I'm not saying that that's going to be your style, but the key is just like letting them into your personal life exactly like you would a friend. That's very important because that is how you build their trust, right? And even when you go back to whose exercise was that inside of Affiliate Institute when we did the armchair exercise, like the reason why they're saying speak as if you would speak to a friend, it's the same thing, right? That's it's like a back door into their heart, you know? There's like this guardian at the front that's like, prove it to me, right? Who goes there? And then there's like this back door that's like, when you speak to them like a friend, it's like you slip silently past the guardian at the gate and you're just in there. And they don't even notice. They're like, it feels so familiar. Like, she reminds me of Lacey or Stephanie or whoever, you know what I mean? Like one of their friends. They will relate you to one of their friends or somebody that they know. And that's exactly what you want, right? Okay, so moving on. Remember our embodying exercise from last week? You can also embody someone that you look up to or embody yourself, your best self. Something so simple first. Okay, so this is, okay, let me back up for a second. So this is basically like tacking on to what we were just talking about, making sure that we check in with ourselves first, making sure that we're in the right mood to actually answer this person back so that we're not coming from an off energy. We want to come from our best energy, right? So this is saying embody your best self. Something so simple first can make such a massive difference in how everything reads and feels to the receiver. It's not just the words we're sending, it is our vibe as well. I'm sure you can relate to reading some people's snarky comments and you know exactly how they're expressing it without needing to even see them, right? We can see it, we can feel it from people's words. Understanding that you're going to be working super closely with these people every day, you're going to want to be selective with the type of person you are looking for. This is why screening them through conversation and questions is crucial. As we're building a relationship with them, we want to be listening for things like mindset, home situations, support, financial position, attitude, etc. Everything they give us are clues, and trust that you don't want just anybody, no matter how badly you want the sale. The faster you can find these things out up front, the more time you will save yourself. Being direct and asking good questions is key. learning your people, and also what type of leads that specific ad is bringing in, high quality or low quality. I'm going to edit this for a second. That needs to be emphasized. That specific ad. Okay, moving right along. Also, pay attention to how you feel when you're talking to them. Do you feel happy, energized, and excited to have met them? Or are you feeling like it's exhausting to follow up with them and drag them along? Trust yourself and what you're feeling. You have every answer already inside of you. And the more acutely you listen and have a deep relationship with it, the faster your process will be with people. So yeah, I cannot stress this enough, you guys. Actually, I was just about to go on a little side rant, but I think it's down here. So I'm just going to keep going. Less side rants mean more time for you with your family. It will benefit you to have it set in your mind that you are the one with the answer and the magic that they are seeking. They have come to you for the answer, not the other way around. You are doing them the service. They are not doing you the service. Having this strong of confidence will read through your messaging. Having this strong confidence will read through your messaging. We are not here to convince anyone. I cannot highlight this enough times. As soon as you feel yourself starting to come across as convincing or have that feeling that they want to be convinced, straight up call it out. You could say something like, look, I'm not here to convince you of anything. You were looking for blank and you found me. Sorry, I'm finding all these typos. And you found me. I'm more than happy to share with you if you're actually open and ready to receive whatever. Make it sound, something that feels good to you, right? Don't beat around the bush. Just say it straight. Doesn't have to be rude, but assertive so they know who's the boss. You the boss. When you value your time and you have less patience for the tire kickers, negative people, or closed-minded people that won't hear anything you say anyways, they will realize very quickly that you're not going to entertain it, and they will choose. They will either start treating it more seriously because they actually do want it, or they will move along and look for someone else that will entertain the energy sucking, which is exactly what you want. You want to sift and sort through the people to find the keepers. I personally love to connect to all my people because I've seen in the numbers that it is much harder for them to give up on themselves when they feel that they have a friend in you. If they are not connected to you at all emotionally, they can walk away no problem. You will get ghosted easier and not hear back from them. When you are both emotionally invested, even just a little bit, they will usually feel bad walking away without talking it out with you first. They will want to give you their truth as to why it may not be for them right now. And it's within that truth that you can usually get to their core reason and show them exactly why they need this based off of what they tell you. Obviously, this way takes longer, and that's why it's important to ask a few key questions right out of the gate. That way you don't invest a whole bunch of time if they're not qualified. It's not the right timing in their life or are not a right fit with you. So I'm sure that I touch on this a little bit later as well too, but I do want to just stop and emphasize this for a minute. That's why having these few key questions that are definitely down below are really important, because the faster we can find out different things about people, the faster we can find out if they're actually somebody that we want to work with, if they're actually somebody that is willing to invest in a business, if they're actually working, if, there's so many different things that we can find out about people. And we want to make sure that we do that process as fast as possible so that we're not, spending all of our time and energy on somebody just to find out, down the line, whatever, many days or weeks or whatever down the line, that they're not even working. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything against people that are not working. Everybody's situation is totally different. But I mean, we know that this business definitely takes money to run, right? And to start up. So there's also a way that we can say that about the timing and still giving them hope for the future, but that their main goal right now has to be, or it doesn't have to be, but it would benefit them to be working before taking on a business, right? Okay, here we go. So, well, let me put this on. There we go. The main questions I usually like to ask, and these are not the only ones you can ask, of course. I generally try to find out if they are working and what they do, if they are married, have kids, etc., why they want a change, and what has sparked that sense of urgency for them. Also, if they've ever done any type of business before, online or offline, and what their experience with that was. Now, I would just ask these questions without some type of pleasantries. Wait, that's not right. Now, I would ask these questions with some type of pleasantries along with it so that it has flow, right? So I wouldn't just, well, actually, it's going to say this. It's not just like a drill sergeant asking for info. So make sure that it flows and that you're giving relatable pieces of yourself where there are openings as well. Usually within these questions, you can find out roughly how much they make by what they do. Or sometimes you will have people that aren't working at all. If they have 4 kids and are a single parent, you know that money may be tight. If you get a crazy story filled with attitude and hatred from a bad experience, a bad business experience, that can give us clues into who this person is and what it will be like to work with them. This is why questions are so important. And I never send that link until they have given me a little bit about themselves. I protect that link like the magical piece of gold that it is. If they want it, they have to work for it a little bit. Again, you are protecting something very special to you, your time, your energy, and your business. When you show that you value the link and you're being selective with who you give it to, it makes them take you and it more seriously. If you don't treat it as special, they won't treat it as special. If you value it, they will value it, right? Really having fun with your messages is important. Adding excitement and life to your words. When you are excited and enthusiastic about what you have and just in your life in general, they will be drawn to you. Everyone wants to feel excited about their life. That's why they're here usually, to live a life of passion and freedom. If they're sensing you're not truly happy, they won't be inspired. My battery is dying. My eyes just got over there and I saw the red bar. Hang on, give me 1 second, guys. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna reach right there. Oh no, it's a battery emergency. I don't actually know if, oh, here we go. The cord will reach, look at that. Okay, did it work? There we go. Okay, so there we go. Can you guys see me? There we go. So let me just find my spot. To live a life of passion and freedom. If they're sensing that you're not truly happy, sorry, my big plant leaf is like over the screen. Oh my. If they're sensing that you're not truly happy, they won't be inspired to move. Always be reading through your own messages to see where you can improve. Are there opportunities where you can share more fun instead of just the technical answer to what do you do? Just listing for them a few sentences that have been clearly rehearsed is not going to be enough these days. People want real. So be looking for those opportunities to add in which means blank, right? So go back to our exercises that we did. So it's like when you say which means, okay, let me give you an example. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection, right? Instead of just moving on to the next sentence after that, you can tack on to the end, which means you and your family can do the traveling that you so desperately want to do, or maybe don't use the word desperately. Which means you can travel the world with your entire family and not lose income, or however you want to say that. Again, I'm not in that flow right now, so it's probably not coming out as the best examples. So don't use those if you don't want to. But yeah, just adding on which means blank at the end so that you're giving them this wonderful feature, then tie it into exactly what it will look like for them, right? Because when we paint that picture for them, it's a lot easier for them to see it in their life. They're like, oh yeah, because then they're going to either see, all you need is a laptop and an internet connection, right? And some people have even tuned that out because it's been used so much, right? So when you go, which means that, and then you give them something that either you know they long for, or you know is a pretty common thing that people long for, it just adds on that benefit that's like very specific to them, right? So they can actually picture it. They get excited about it. They're not necessarily excited about a laptop or an internet connection, right? They're excited and attached emotionally to what it means for them, right? So, where was I? Yeah, be looking for those opportunities to add in, which means blank, or you can even add on the end of that with, even if you blank, right? So go back through our old exercises, especially the ones on their pain points and how to relate to what they want. Narrowing into them and showing them how it benefits them is going to be key. Short and sweet does the trick. Make sure that you are not giving super lengthy messages unless you are both already in an amazing flow together and are sharing. You want to really only give them enough to satisfy them and then move on to the next question that you have for them. Allow the webinars and the process to do the heavy lifting. Your only goal inside of messaging is to either, one, get them to watch the webinar, or two, you want to get them on the phone to communicate and build that relationship faster, and then get them to the webinar. That's it, right? It's always about the webinar. That's what it is, okay? It's very simple. If we don't have to like focus on the selling or convincing or the showing how wonderful everything is, that's all done. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Just only focus on the webinar, right? So I love this part. This example was told to me many years ago. I can't even remember. Many years ago when I started another business. It was one of the very first businesses I had ever started. And I was training with this guy, and he had, anyways, this isn't even important. I don't know why I'm telling you this. He had this set of tapes, like it was like old school, like tapes. And there was this guy. I'm sorry I even started this story. You know, when you immediately want to like backtrack and delete, but I've come too far in this video to go back and delete. So it doesn't matter. Long story short, the cassette tapes were freaking amazing. This guy, who I was going to try and remember his name, but I can't remember his name, was amazing. It was amazing. So I'm going to share an example that he shared, and it's exactly what we're talking about. And in that business was exactly the same. I mean, the business wasn't the exact same, but the reason for him sharing this example was the exact same, because sometimes if you say too much, it can actually hurt you and them, right? So I want to give you a quick example of how too many words can affect what they create as an image in their mind. Okay, so there's this friend, and he's setting up two other friends on a blind date. Everything's set and ready to go for that date night, but the one friend wants to know more about their blind date person. So he starts nagging, asking, is she short or tall? What color of hair does she have? Is she skinny or nice and plump? What does she do for a living? All of these questions. So the friend starts answering them, not thinking that as he does, this guy is actually shaping an image in his mind. Each word and each detail starts to form an opinion based off of something from his past. And depending on if he likes blondes or brunettes, skinny or plump, short or tall, the tally is already being made on what his experience will be before he's even experienced it. This could be his dream woman, but because of this situation, he may very well call it off or walk in with a preconceived notion or attitude, and it could change everything. So the flip side, the friend could have said something simple like, okay, look, I know you really want to know everything about her, but I would be doing both of you a real disservice by doing that. This is someone that you just have to experience in person. Do you feel the difference there? When we share too much with a lead, we're coming from a really wonderful place and wanting the best for them. However, we are filtering information through our own lens. And then it will also go through their lens after that. Only type what is absolutely imperative to keep them happy, and just keep assuring them that that's what the that's what the webinar is for, and they will get it all inside of there, and then building excitement around that instead, right? So it's just really important, because you don't know what somebody's experience, right? They could be creating this person who they had a bad experience with, or somebody that they dated in the past, or somebody who was their boss, or somebody who's in a specific job, or like we have so many things that are attached, and they might not even notice that they're doing it, because it's all in the background. It's all from previous operating systems, right? So the attachment to every word that we say, just because it doesn't mean anything to us or have an emotion attached to it for us, does not mean that it won't have an emotion attached for them. And if it's any type of negative emotion, we're starting to lose points. The business is starting to lose points, and they haven't even been to the webinar yet, right? So the faster we can turn it around, like say just enough to satisfy them, like in this example, right? You could satisfy that person wants to know everything, right? And then just by saying, I would be doing you a disservice, this is someone you just have to experience in person. Do you hear the confidence in that? If somebody said that to me about a blind date and they were like, trust me, this is just somebody you have to see in person, right? I'd be like, damn, I'm not going to sleep for the next 3 days. Just kidding. Kind of. So, okay, moving on. So now, people who are worried about how much time it could take to message people this way, there are alternatives for sure that are more automated. You just want to make sure that you have some personal touches throughout, like a colder style process. That's the only thing, right? With automation is sometimes it's not as personal, right? Because they're not getting you. So there are still ways that you can do an automated process that have little tiny videos we call touch points, right? Little touch points with your face, and also making sure that they are aware that it is an automated series, and you're not hiding that at all, right? You're very upfront with that. You're like, yeah, I'm probably at the beach, or, over here or whatever with my kids, right? Like when you are upfront like that and somebody knows you're at the beach and whatever, like for those go-getters who want to go through, press this button. If you want more of this, press that button, right? Like there are ways to set that up. You still want your face, like you still want like little bridge videos and stuff like that throughout your process, right? So, where is that? Through a colder style process. That's why little videos and surveys are amazing, you guys. They're awesome. Like you could lay out, like I think the one survey that I used to use the most had like 8 questions in there. And I can show you an example of that. I can actually show you a whole example of this ManyChat sequence that I set up that had a video, that had, it was an attached survey. And then at the end of the survey, they had an option, the go-getters had an option to go straight into the webinar if they really wanted, if they were ready now, right? And I framed it in a way that was like, for those that are really serious and ready to change their life, right? And then for those that still wanted, more time to talk first before watching a video or whatever, then they have a messaging option. Anyways, I can show you all of that. When I did that for my first time, okay, this was crazy. When I did that, when I set that up for my first time, I had never seen anybody actually do it like in the sequence that I had done it. And I was just playing around with ManyChat. I was still super new to ManyChat. It was very frustrating for the first 3 or 4 weeks. I kept running into problems. Anyways, I have a video. If anybody wants any training on ManyChat, that would be helpful instead of having to go through it the hard way. Yeah, when I first set that up, that whole sequence, I got 3 $99 buyers like into GAZ, at that time GAZ, within a 5-day period. And I hadn't spoken to them at all. Like they were cold leads that came straight off of an ad right into an autoresponder which was set up as the very first thing they saw was a video. It wasn't a messaging series. So they went right into a video, and then that video went into, I explained to them why I wanted them to do the survey, and then went right into the survey. And then at the end of the survey, it had options after that, right? So when that worked that well, I was like, holy shit, like I didn't have to talk to any of those people until after. So there was people that came all the way through the system without me even knowing. They were $99 buyer. Then they had already gone through like a lot of their training material inside the back office by the time I had already talked to them, right? By the time I got to talk to them, sorry. So this won't be for everybody. Maybe the other way is for you. Maybe this way is for you. Maybe a mixture of both is for you. Trying different things is super, super important. But what I will say is this is an excellent way if you're going to do automation, instead of just having the very generic like auto bots that are messaging people, which a lot of people have nowadays. Find really cool, different ways to make yourself stand out. That's so important. Don't just, have a sequence of messages that are going to them, right? Like find different ways. That's why like the survey was fun, it was fun for them because it's colorful. You can change the text. You can make it in like different fonts and different graphs and different bars and multiple choice. And like, you can add pictures and like, it's fun for them, right? It's different, right? It's different. It's stimulating to their mind. So you stand out, right? Anyways, without getting too much into that, I will definitely show you anybody who's interested. Maybe I'll just make a whole separate post, like actually inside of the Facebook group so that people can see what it looks like from beginning to end, right? Super slick, super, super slick. So, that's the fun part of the business. You can try again many times and pretty much whatever creative way you want within the rules, of course. Just because leaders aren't doing it yet or someone is telling you a different way, do it anyways. Light the path, be the first. There are so many ways to do this business. It's absolutely incredible. We literally just meet people, share with people, and direct the people into the system. That's it. So if you ever get overwhelmed, come back to that simplicity and let it guide you. However you want to do that, do that. So wherever you want to meet the people, meet the people. However you want to share the information, share the information. However you want to direct the people into the system, direct the people into the system. It's your business. You choose, right? You don't have to wait for other people to show you everything. Just try shit. Make a mess. Within reason. Like, I'm not saying make a mess of it all, like tear your whole business apart, but like, you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to make a mess. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like those are the best ways to learn. And like a lot of the times that's how you run into like the jackpot, that's how you're like, you find something that nobody else is doing that starts converting at a much lower rate. That's like special to you because it's unique, right? Don't be afraid to play around. This is a really good spot to mention. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated or discouraged by those that don't want to join you. Honestly, it's just a numbers game. And that's not meant to sound impersonal, but it's the truth. Check this out. I always love this one because it's so accurate. Oh yeah, this. So it says, there's no secret. I simply showed my plan to 1,200 people. 900 said no. I signed up 300 people. 85 actually did anything. 30 took it serious. And 11 made me a multimillionaire, says Bill Gates, right? And this is why sometimes people give up too early. This part of, I'm not going to say this is everybody's reason why, but this is part of why people give up too early, right? Is because they can take it very personally by hearing the no's, right? The no's are not about you. It's not connected to you at all, right? So when you hear a no, actually, I'll just go into the next part. The faster we can understand this and not take it so personally, the faster we will see our numbers thrive. Stay disconnected energetically from those that do not make you beam with happiness and energy. Move on quickly once you know it's not a fit, right? I promise you, if you can learn how to do that and just out, next, out, next, out, next, I mean, not just kicking them out for nothing, but after you've gone through the process, after you've asked questions, built a relationship, decided whether it's right or wrong, whether they're working, not working, don't want to spend money, whatever, move on. You know, the faster you can move on, the faster you'll keep going. Look at these numbers, you guys. This doesn't lie. This is Bill Gates, dude. Like, I've heard so many people do an example like this. So many successful people do an example exactly like this one. It is the truth. It is the truth. It's just being able to accept and move on, accept and move on, accept and move on, right? Practicing detachment. As much as we care, it's so good to be detached, right? Detached from the outcome. Okay, in wrapping up, let's talk about a few key things to look for inside of people's messages. So, one-word answers. Honestly, if they're just not showing any sign of life, do not be afraid to call them out on it. Nicely, of course. Tell them exactly what you're picking up on and what you're looking for in terms of business partners. They will either start to take it seriously or they will ship out. There is nothing wrong, you guys, with being very forward, right? Again, we're going to go back to like Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or whoever that person, that successful person that you were embodying, whoever that was. How would they spend all the time in the world sitting here talking to this person, or would they just be upfront? You know, being upfront is actually going to do both of you a lot of good. Sorry. Sorry, I can hear my phone going, and it's right around the time that my kids are. Sorry, give me just 1 second, guys. I just want to make sure there's nothing wrong. Okay, sorry. It's like right at that pickup time, so I was just want to make sure there was nothing wrong. It's not the teachers calling to cry. No. Okay, where was I? Yeah, the faster that you can like figure out who it is you're dealing with, the faster you can just detach and move along, right? Also inside of your messaging, look for closed-mindedness or negativity. Now, here, I don't necessarily mean doubt or fear, because those are very natural emotions and they can be worked with. But I mean, those people that are stuck in their own opinion and how terrible X, Y, or Z is and how much they hate it, when they have that chip on their shoulder and it's set in stone, that jaded feeling where the world owes them something, you know the ones. You're not there to take on their shit. Call them out on it. Again, nicely. We must be very careful that we're not coming from that place of ego where we want to give them a jab to show them how we're perceiving them. Rather, you want to make it known that your boundaries are very clear and you are specific in who you're choosing to work with. Even saying something like, look, I like to be straight up so that we're not wasting each other's time. I'm sensing blank from you. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm looking to work with people who blank. Is that you? Or something along those lines. Make it natural to you, whatever you want, but just don't be afraid to be very honest. Like, cut the shit, you know? Don't let them away with like spewing all over you or whatever that looks like, right? Do not take it. Feeding excuses to you over and over again. Sometimes they don't even realize that they're doing it, even to themselves. Even to themselves. They believe it. They have themselves hypnotized, and we want to interrupt their pattern and wake them up. So if they're serving up lots of excuses and you can feel that it's just the easy thing for them to say, and it's actually feeding the same story to themselves, then do them a favor and interrupt their pattern. Okay? People actually want this. People actually respect this. People are sleeping. They don't even realize they've been feeding themselves the same BS for so long that they buy their own shit now, right? And they respect people. That's why people love like Gary Vee so much. You know what I mean? Because he's not there to sugarcoat anything for you. He's there to like hit you with a heart pang. And then like later on, you're like, oh, damn, like he's so right, you know? So for the pattern interrupt, this could be an example. Now, again, you guys, like this is just something that I've come up with like really quickly, right? So don't necessarily think that this is the only way. And if it doesn't feel natural to you, don't use it. Do find something that's natural for you. This is just an example, right? So this is now me speaking in message. Absolutely. Look, I get that sometimes blank and it blank. I have been there as well. I can see that you are blank, and it's very admirable that you're looking to change that for your family. Here's what I keep hearing from you, blank, and I have to point out that blank, if we stay doing blank and then hit them with the whatever, things will never change, or blah, 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 whatever. You get the point. Wake them up. Give them value. Do not let them keep hurting themselves and their life by staying stuck. Unstuck them. Now, again, I will insert here. You do not want to become their counselor or have them dump on you. A little bit is okay if you feel it's okay, but you must protect your energy and space. If you notice that the heavy story is being laid on, give them a few really good 1 to 2 sentences. Something sharp but true, like Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, or Tony Robbins. If it still keeps going, just have them reconsider if it's the right time for them. Trust your instincts. You will know. All right, guys, we're almost done. Look at that. That's the end. Okay, so hang here with me for probably like 3 more minutes. If they're not replying back to your follow-ups, it's important to stick with people because there's lots of proof in the numbers that sometimes it's just timing and people need someone to follow up with them multiple times. Life is busy and distracting. It's not always what you think it is. It's a fine line, though, between someone not caring and someone just not at the right timing. So don't be afraid to do the takeaway just to see if it gets that heartbeat firing. If the heartbeat is firing, you can work with that. If there's nothing there at all, move on after the takeaway. Everyone's going to have a different style of takeaway, but I have found that it works really well to make yourself sound really busy and in demand. So while you're sounding busy and in demand, you still want to be understanding that life is busy, but that you just want them to let you know, right? So you could do something, let me just stop for a second. You could do something like, hey, I've sent you the last couple messages I've sent you, I haven't heard anything back. I've got a lot of, no. I don't even, okay. I'm not going to give an example on the spot because I don't want to screw anybody up. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add something in here before I post this inside. So by the time you're watching this video, it will already be in there. But again, you don't have to actually take what I use, but just by saying something along the lines of like, I'm clearing out my list because I really only want to work with those that are looking for it. And I haven't heard back from you in the last couple of messages. It's no big deal. I know life is busy and, kids, and it's super distracting. And if that's the case, then definitely hit me back and just let me know. I'll keep you on the list. But if I don't hear back from you this time, I'm going to assume that you're not interested anymore. And I'm just going to take you off the list and, move on, work with the people that want to be worked with or whatever. However you want to say that. Look at that. I pulled something out on the spot. Okay, guys. So now always be mentioning the 14-day trial. This is gold. People want this type of security on their money, and it makes them feel more comforted that they're not locked into anything if they don't like it. Sometimes I even like to take a screenshot of the big red cancel button and show them how easy and accessible it is for them to just cancel themselves. It's not a process where they have to even explain anything to anyone. People love that. And then reassuring them with something along the lines of, make sure you say this after, right? Because then it brings it back up into a positive. Like, you don't want them to think that they're going to cancel, right? So just showing them how easy it is, but then also saying, but once people see the training materials and platforms in place, they rarely cancel their membership, right? So that brings back that confidence in, like, you might want to, and it's easy if you want to, but people rarely do, right? So for anybody who hasn't seen my actual written blurb and how I frame it and how I word it to people around the 14-day trial, there is like a whole write-up inside of the the post from Monday, December 2nd, in the comment section where we were all sharing like screenshots of actual conversations of people were getting feedback and sharing their examples of what they write. There's actually a write-up inside of there, and it's one that works really, really, really well. So for anybody who hasn't seen that, make sure that you're checking it out. That being said, make sure you check out that whole post, because there's a whole bunch of threads in there that's like, even like, make sure that you're clicking on the little like view 8 more replies or whatever, so that you can see what's inside of every single one, because there's lots of people that are actually giving their input. And it's great to see how everybody does their different style of writing, right? There's going to be different things resonate with people differently every time. So then here it just talks about keep all of your resources together. You will have this PDF I'm going to send you, the video right now that you're watching, the questions and answers from Monday, December 2nd inside of the post, the one I was just talking about, your set of questions from Tuesday, December 3rd's post. There should be, I think there was like 8 to 10 questions inside of that PDF that I got everybody to answer. And then you'll also have the set of questions from Wednesday, December 4th, which is the same set of questions, but actually being answered through like what embodying that successful person that we talked about. Then there's the link for the 1.5 hour video that I posted inside of the chat. It wasn't an actual mission, but there definitely is still a ton of value inside of there. It's 1.5 hours long, and I actually do a screen share where I go inside of my inbox and go through actual conversations that I have had with people. Now that was from a little while back. I made it from my team. It's not a recent one. So again, I didn't watch the whole 1.5 hours. I know generally what I do inside of those, and I wouldn't post it for my team if I didn't know that there was a ton of value in there. So, but just keep in mind that, again, it's not going to resonate with every single person, but there's definitely going to be pieces within the framework or certain sentences that you will like. So just be copying those down. And then, so that's the link. I put the link so it's nice and easy for everybody to find. And there's one thing that's missing on here. What is that? The landing pages. Thank you for remembering. Okay, so it's not on here as of yet, but by the time you see this, it will be added, because I'm going to add it before you see it. I have to write down what I'm going to add, or else I will totally freaking forget if I don't write stuff down. Okay, so I'm going to add, right now I'm going to add the landing page secrets. And then the other one, what was I going to add in there? I was going to add an example for, oh goodness. Yeah, this one. An example as a takeaway. Okay, perfect. So one thing that's not on here is a really, really, really great trick. And it's basically around asking for somebody's email instead of sending them the link, okay? So you're going to get their email and you're going to put it inside of your own landing page. So this ensures that people are actually registering, right? So I can show you examples, like this is how I do it with everybody, like literally everybody. I do not leave it in their hands, because if you just send them a link, they might have all good intentions to come back to it and input their information and actually go to the webinar. But what happens is if it's in their control, life happens, distractions happen, there's a million other things that are coming in, and webinars and businesses that they're, subscribing to, right? We're not the only one, for sure. People are looking. So they'll forget. And it's like an honest mistake, right? So I always take the control away from that. That doesn't sound right. I just do it for them so that it ensures that they actually register. So basically what that looks like is we'll have our whole conversation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Excited you want to check it out. Just shoot me your email address and I'll get you registered. right? And then every time, people don't care. People will send their email address every single time. I honestly don't think I've had one person not send me their email address, right? So they'll send me the email address, and also I'll say, great, thanks so much. I'll get you registered now. And then I'll have to go back inside of my messages to see if I actually sent them the physical link to the webinar, or if I just told them to check their email inbox. I don't know. Sorry, I got stuck legitimately thinking about it. I think I just send them the actual link to the webinar so they can watch it right away, because I already have them registered, right? So I can send them the little link to actually watch it. So I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. But anyways, I'm sure there's multiple different ways. The main thing is taking their email address. So after you have it, saying, awesome, I'll get you all registered and I'll hit you back, right? Then you go over to your landing page. Now, this next step is going to be important, okay? So when you go over to your landing page, when you open up your landing page on a browser, make sure that you're in incognito. You're in incognito. You're on an incognito window. So incognito is just a fancy word for like a private browsing session. So for anybody who doesn't know what that is, there's like on your phone, when you pull up the little internet icon, there's like, it's like white around the edges. If you actually like click the thing that shows you multiple pages at the same time, I hope this doesn't sound confusing. There's a little button on the left that gives you an option to either open up a new screen, or you can hit the button that says private, and private turns everything black. Okay, so now the screen on the outside is black. So that means basically that it's not tracking to your specific IP address, whatever activity you're doing, right? So the reason why this is important is because you don't actually, not that anything would happen. I mean, no one's going to knock on your door and throw cuffs on you and take you away. But it doesn't always look the greatest when all of these email addresses are being entered from the same IP address, right? Generally speaking, the laws they have around it want people to be subscribing themselves, right? So when it comes from the same IP address, it can look like a fishy red flag, right? Now, we're not doing anything wrong, so I'm not telling anybody to break the rules here. I'm just saying that to have yourself in a private browsing session so that they're not all being tracked to your IP address is definitely the way to go, okay? So then you open up your landing page, your own landing page inside of your IP address. You put in their email address and you put in their name, and then it automatically registers them, right? So now they're also going to start getting the automated emails that go out after. They're going to get the actual webinar sent to their email. So everything's going to start being sent to their email so they have access to it, right? But what you can do, instead of just waiting for them to find it in their email, which again, the more you take out of their hands, the more actionable steps you can actually take them through, the less it allows for them to fall off, right? So then what happens is after they're registered and they're coded to you, then you can actually send them a link to that webinar, whatever webinar you want them to watch. There's a couple of different ones to choose from. Whatever webinar you want them to watch, then you can actually just send them the link to that webinar to be able to watch it, because you know that they're already coded to you, right? Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. If you have any questions around any of that, definitely, oh, here, I can take this off now. There we go. If you guys have any questions around any of that, definitely reach out or like drop that inside of the comments down below in this post or inside of the chat or whatever. For tonight, there's no actual like mission to go with this. This is more just like a learning, it's kind of like a training session. And then tomorrow there is going to be an actual mission that comes out, and it's basically going to be, I don't know exactly which way we'll do it that's going to make it the easiest, but I want everybody to have the opportunity to go through a messaging sequence. When I say sequence, I don't necessarily mean like an Autobot. I mean, like kind of like a role play, right? Like I want everybody to either have, I haven't decided yet, I'm going to think about it tonight, whether it's going to be with one partner, like if we all partner up in twos and then have conversations inside of Messenger, and then we actually share those conversations inside of a chat so we can get feedback on them. Or if it's going to be like a group, if I open something on the side for it to be like a group collective, like where I say one thing and everybody gives what their answer would be, and then I pretend to be the lead and I answer something back, and then everybody gives what their answer would be, so that we're all seeing the same lead speaking, but we all have a chance to also give our replies, and then we can talk about that whole thing. I haven't decided yet, but basically what I'd really love to see is for everybody to have the opportunity to be in like a role-playing type of scenario, so that they can go back and forth with what a real lead actually would say, and they can practice how to share their message with the unpredictability of knowing what that lead is going to say, or what their attitude might be, or how the feeling of a conversation might be, or how to redirect with the questions that we know. After everything we've already gone through, we're at the perfect place now, having gone through all of our stuff last week and having gone through the stuff inside of here, we're at the perfect place now to actually like put it into a real life scenario. So I just have to figure out exactly what the easiest way is going to be for that. And also easiest on the back end as well too, to not have conversations with every single person inside of the sprint, although we love you all, but it is definitely a lot of work to have to do each one individually. So we won't do it that way. We might partner up, or we might do a group, whatever. We'll figure it out, but that'll be tomorrow. So for tonight, there's no actual real mission other than watching this training video and saving the PDF and making sure that you have the other stuff saved as well too, so that you have all the resources in one place when you want to come back for it. Okay, guys, I think that's it. So love and appreciate you all. If you need anything, reach out. Yeah, in the meantime, have a great night. Enjoy your families, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.